When installing a folding door, it's important to note that it is not self-supporting. This means that it must be installed under a load-bearing beam. If you follow this guide, the folding door will be installed correctly. Upon receiving the folding door, please remove the plastic and check for defects. Folding doors with 4 panes or fewer are delivered fully assembled. Folding doors with a minimum of 5 panes or with a frame width up to 4200 mm are delivered with the frame assembled and loose sashes. Folding doors with a frame width over 4200 mm are delivered with the frame unassembled and the sashes loose. You can jump between chapters in this video to quickly find the guide you need. For folding doors with a frame width over 4200 mm, the frame must be assembled before installation in the wall opening. The first thing you must do when unpacking your folding door over 4200 mm is to check the supplied installation kit. Make sure all parts are accounted for. You will find the parts list in the installation guide. In addition to the installation kit, top and bottom rollers, pins for the inner hinges and wear rings are included. Check that they are mounted on the hinges. Remove the frame from the pallet and place it on a flat surface or on trestles. You may use the foam as protection during the frame assembly. Remove the stabilizers mounted on the bottom and top frame. Shorten the stabilizers so they match the internal rebate dimensions. Start by applying joint sealant into the dowel holes. Insert dowels into the dowel holes in both the bottom frame and the top frame. Then apply a continuous bead of joint sealant around the entire end profile, both on the bottom and top frame. Press the frame tightly together. The dowel holes are oversized to allow for tolerance. Install the assembly brackets and tighten the nut with a 10 mm spanner on both the top frame and the threshold. You may use a clamp to secure the frame. Ensure the frame joint is completely tight. Add joint sealant if needed. Color or texture differences may occur on the threshold as it consists of 2 different pieces of hardwood. Remove excess sealant with a damp cloth. Use the trimmed stabilizers as positioning sticks to ensure equal internal frame dimensions. Before installing the bearing track and the bottom rail track, cut the sticker on the top frame. Start by installing the bearing track on the master leaf. Mark the position of the assembly bracket on the bearing track. Remove material on the bearing track so it does not interfere with the bracket. This can be done with suitable tools. Install the bearing track using the supplied screws in all holes. After installing the bearing track, assemble the bottom rail track on the slave leaf using the connector block and then mount it onto the bearing track. Remove the rollers from the sashes on the pallet. Then insert the rollers into the bottom rail track. It is important that the rollers are placed in the track before the frame is installed in the wall opening. And finally install the end caps, which lock the bearing and bottom rail track in place. Do this at both ends.
Karmen er nu samlet og klar til montering.
Before installing the frame in the wall opening, the top frame must be shimmed. Shimming points must be placed at each striking plate and between each striking plate with a maximum spacing of 300 mm between shims. Check with a laser that the load-bearing beam is in level. Check both ends of the beam. If the beam is uneven, add shims at the outermost shim point to correct the deviation. The remaining shims can be adjusted once the frame is in the wall opening. Install the frame in the wall opening. Raise the threshold using windbags or wedges at the mullions. Check that the side frame is plumb. Check the diagonal measurement. Pre-drill a hole in the frame hinges and a hole in the middle of the 2 inner hinges on the side frame. Insert frame screws in the pre-drilled holes in the side frame, but not fully. Leave the screw heads free. Remove the windbags. Insert shims behind the frame at all screw points and tighten to ensure a stable installation. Check that the side frames are plumb. Pre-drill with a 7.5mm drill next to each striking plate in the top frame, with a maximum distance of 300mm between each shim. Insert frame screws loosely in all pre-drilled holes in the top frame. Leave the screw heads free. Remove the positioning stick, the shortened stabilizer used to secure internal frame dimensions. Shimming of the threshold must be done at each striking plate and with a maximum spacing of 500mm. Check that the threshold and bottom rail track are level. Adjust with shims under the threshold until it's fully supported. Use a string line to check that the threshold is straight. Remove the striking plates on the threshold and pre-drill for frame screws for concealed installation. Drill on both sides of the joint. This only applies for folding doors over 4200mm. Insert the frame screws. Note that one screw will be visible. When the screws are installed, reinstall the striking plates. The frame is now installed and the sashes can be mounted. Ensure a minimum 12mm gap around the frame in the wall opening. This allows for alignment, shimming and sealing. In very uneven wall openings, more space may be required. For folding doors with minimum 5 panels and over 4200mm, the sashes are delivered loose on the pallet. Temporarily remove the 2 upper male hinges on the sashes supplied with them. Otherwise, the sashes cannot be installed on the frame. Start with sash 1, which has the male hinge that fits the frame hinge, the last opening door on one of the sides. Install the sash loosely on the middle hinges. Then reinstall the 2 male hinges on the sash. Sash 1 is now installed. To separate sash 2 and 3, the bottom hinge on sash 3 must be removed, as it cannot be lifted free from sash 2 if the hinge is mounted. Install sash 2 by inserting the pins into the 3 lower inner hinges. Open the handle and the sash, lock the handle again, and carefully guide the sash towards the threshold. For installing sash 3, install the supplied top bolts and remember the wear rings between the hinges. Locate the roller in the bottom rail track, roll it to the rod and screw the rod into the roller using a 6mm Allen key. Reinstall the bottom hinge on sash 3 together with the support wheel. Loosen the 2 lower grub screws on the side of the bottom hinge on sash 3. Adjust the support wheel so it contacts the threshold. This is a temporary adjustment. Install the last pin in the upper inner hinge on sash 3. Repeat the process for the remaining sashes from the opposite side. Open the folding door sashes fully and install the first screw in the top frame. Then close the sashes to the next screw position in the top frame. Check with a 60cm spirit level that the top frame is level across and tighten the screw. Roll the sashes again to the next screw position. Check with the spirit level and tighten. Continue this way until the door is fully closed. Repeat the same process on the other side. If the frame is not in level, adjust with shims. You have now installed the sashes and are ready to make adjustments. Adjust the gap between the sashes by turning the hinge adjustment screw towards plus or minus. Remember to loosen the inner screw before adjusting and retighten it afterwards. Adjustment range is plus 1.5mm and minus 1mm. Adjust the hinge up or down as needed using the screw at the bottom of the hinge. Adjust the striking plate in or out, both top and bottom, to achieve optimal gasket pressure and a tight seal. Adjust the support wheels so they make contact with the threshold. Adjust the sash holder by unscrewing the screw completely, shifting it sideways and reinstalling it. touch-up paint is included for repairs. Alternatively, filler may be used if considered more appropriate. For folding doors with 3 or 4 panels, the sashes must be removed from the frame before installation. This ensures correct installation of the top frame, as the bottom rail track must not be loaded during installation. We demonstrate this on a fully installed folding door, but the procedure is the same when the door is on the pallet. Open the master leaf, sash 1, and remove the bottom hinge with the support wheel. Remove the top hinge with the top guide. Then remove the grub screws. Sash 1 is now loose and can be placed safely on the ground. When removing sash 1, sash 2 will rest on the threshold. Be aware of this when removing sash 2. Carefully open sash 2 and 3 approximately 10 cm. Remove the hinge pin in the upper hinge by tapping it out with a drift pin. Do this for all hinges on sash 2. Sash 2 is now removed. Remove the remaining 2 sashes from the frame by loosening and removing the hinges attached to the sash. The folding door is now ready for installation in the wall opening. See the chapter Installing the frame in the wall opening.